I'm Cody Willis, and today we're going to be making the A1 Bodega Parsi Fish Curry meal kit. Just unpacked our ingredients here. So we've got our Parsi curry sauce from our sister restaurant, Calcutta Cricket Club. Really delicious coconut-based curry sauce, lots of turmeric, ginger, garlic, really delicious. We've got some fresh Fogo Island turbot, which is a meaty, flaky white fish, ocean-wise, sustainable, really delicious, really holds up well with the curry sauce. We've got some basmati rice, zucchini, we've got some lime, cilantro, potatoes, and some ghee, and just a little extra, we've got our Calcutta Cricket Club pineapple chutney. All right, so first thing we're gonna wanna do here is we're gonna get our potatoes going. We've got some cold water here, ready to go. We're gonna lightly salt it. You always wanna start potatoes from cold. It just helps cook them evenly throughout. Otherwise you can get more cooked on the outside and you get a raw interior, or it can be a bit mushy. So that's gonna be the first thing we're gonna do to get it going, because that's gonna take about 12-15 minutes. Just after that, we're gonna start the rice. The rice takes about 10 to 15 minutes as well. Then we're gonna get our mise en place ready. We're gonna cut up our zucchinis, we're gonna cut our limes, we're going to cut the fish, and we're gonna get everything ready to get cooking so that once we get started, we can just roll right through. All right, so through the magic of internet television, we've jumped to our potatoes are now started in cold water with a bit of salt. We cranked the heat up to high. We're gonna get those boiling. On this side, we've also started the rice. So we did 2 cups of water to 1 cup of basmati. We also start that on cold. Once that comes up to a boil, we're gonna turn it down to a simmer, and then that's when we'll start our cook time. In the meantime, we're gonna get prepping our mise en place here. So we're gonna start with the zucchini. So I like to just chop the ends off. We're gonna do, it's called a roll cut. So it's just kind of an oblong cut. It gives you just really interesting shape and texture and gives you more surface area to cut. So you're just gonna pull the zucchini back as you cut this at an angle all the way through. You wanna cut it into good bite-sized pieces. Whenever you're cooking, you wanna think about the end result and how you're gonna be eating the food. So you wanna cut things in a size that's gonna be manageable. Next, we're just gonna cut our limes. Nice little secret when you're cutting limes. Cut the pith out, or that little hard center part. It's gonna be nice when you squeeze it. It's not gonna splash everywhere. It should be a little bit easier. We're gonna cut our fish. Just cut the bags open here. We're gonna have a little bit of water in the bag, so we're just gonna grab some paper towel and dry that off. Just wanna pat it until it's nice and dry. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing with the fish. We just wanna cut it into nice bite-sized pieces. All right, our mise en place is ready to go. All right, so our potatoes are boiling now, so we can turn them down to a simmer. The rice is also boiling. We're gonna turn that down to pretty low temperature, low or simmer if you have that setting. And we're gonna leave that for 10 minutes, and we're gonna come back and check on these in about the same amount of time. All right, so we've got about a minute left on the rice here. I'm gonna check our potatoes. So the trick to checking whole potatoes to see if they're ready is you should be able to pretty easily pierce through with a knife and pull it out. Those are looking good. So we're just gonna strain these off. So our time is done on the rice. So just gonna take it off the heat, kind of crack the lid, and we can just leave it there. Now we're gonna start heating up our pan. So we wanna give this a really good sear, so you're gonna start the pan medium-high heat. As that's heating up, we're gonna cut our potatoes, as we did before, just into nice bite-sized pieces. All right, as the pan heats up, we're gonna grab our ghee. Ghee is essentially a clarified butter. It has a really high smoke point, so you can use quite a bit of it. It adds lots of flavor to the dish. The potatoes and the zucchini are gonna absorb a lot of the ghee once you add them in. So by adding a bit extra than what you'd think is not always a bad thing. Having a nice amount of ghee is also gonna help get a really good sear on your potatoes. So the next thing we're gonna do is the fish won't take too long to cook, and we wanna make sure that we get a really nice sear on our potatoes and on our zucchini. So we're gonna start off by searing the potatoes, searing the zucchini, getting that going. Once they get a nice sear on it, start to get a nice color on it, then we're gonna add the fish in, the sauce in, and we'll let it cook through. So you know that your ghee's at the right temperature and your pan's at the right temperature when you hear that good sizzle. We're also gonna add our zucchini right now. You're gonna give these a little season. It's always good to season as you go. Make sure that everything gets nicely seasoned, and at the end you don't have a big hit of salt, you just have a nice even seasoning throughout the dish. You wanna mix it around and make sure you sear all sides, but you also don't mix it too much. You wanna mix it and then you wanna let it sit and you wanna let it cook and you wanna let it sear for a while and then come back and mix it again. If you keep moving it around too much, then you're never gonna get a really nice hard sear. All right, so we've started to get some good color on our potatoes and on our zucchini. Starting to smell really good. You can really smell the sweetness of the ghee coming through. It's sounding really delicious. So we're gonna kind of push the potatoes and the zucchini to the side just for a second. We're gonna add in our fish. Get a little bit of a sear on the fish as well. You can again add a little bit of seasoning just to the fish. Don't need too much, but probably a little more than you think. The fish doesn't take too long to cook, and one of the things that we want to do is we want the fish to cook a little bit in the sauce to help absorb all the flavors of the sauce and to really just bring it all together. So we're just going to give them a little bit of a sear. I'm just going to take our curry sauce. Since the fish has got a little bit of a sear, it could just be on the one side. The origins of this sauce are influenced by one of our partners at Calcutta Cricket Club, Maya Gohill. Her family on her mother's side is Parsi, and made this really aromatic coconut curry with shrimp, and another key ingredient being tons of cilantro and lime. That was really the roots that was the inspiration to our chefs for this sauce and this dish. There's been variations of this sauce on the menu at Calcutta Cricket Club since day one. So you can see the sauce as you're starting to add it. Once it warms up, it starts to thin out a little bit. Now we can just let this simmer for 4 or 5 minutes. You'll start to know when the fish is ready, when it starts to flake apart really easy, starts to become really tender, starts to change color from being translucent to being more white and opaque. You never want to boil fish. You always just want to poach it or kind of lightly simmer it. Whenever you boil any sort of fish or animal protein, you can really seize up the proteins and make it really tough. So you just want to turn down the heat and you just want to poach it and simmer it on a lower temperature. So we're just going to want to give this a little taste. We're going to want to check the seasoning. I'm going to check the fish to see how it's looking. So you can start to see that the fish is starting to flake. It's starting to come apart. It's becoming really tender. It's done now. I'm just going to turn the heat off. You always want to add your lime right at the end. As lime cooks, it can lose its fresh brightness and it can start to become a little more dull. So you always want to leave your lime and any sort of soft herbs like cilantro till the end. I'm going to take our cilantro. I always like to leave a few just on the side for garnish, but it's going to impart the most flavor if you add it right in to the curry and let it cook in just a little bit. Again, with soft herbs like this, it doesn't take very much time, and you don't want to cook them too much because just like the lime, you'll start to lose that freshness and start to become a little dull. So these are nice big chunks of cilantro. You can chop it up a little finer if you like, but I like to leave it big whole pieces and nice and chunky. So we've got our rice here. It's looking really good. Absorbed all the water. So we're gonna serve this dish family style. Essentially just means putting it in nice big bowls and containers and just letting people serve themselves. If you want, you can always save a bit of the ghee and you can always warm it up and you can drizzle it over the rice. It's really delicious. I'm just gonna plate our curry here. Gonna top it with the rest of our cilantro leaves. Serve your limes on the side. Don't forget your chutney. This pineapple chutney is nice and sweet and just lends some fruitiness and some freshness, sweetness to this dish. All right, so we have our Parsi Fish Curry with turbot, zucchini, potatoes, fresh cilantro, lime. We've got our Calcutta Cricket Club pineapple chutney. We've got our basmati rice and our fresh limes. Enjoy. Enjoy. So there you go. You can order this meal kit online at www.a1bodega.ca for pickup, or just drop by the shop anytime and we'll have them in stock.